Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya and I finally finished all episodes of all seasons of Pretty Little Liars.
Look at us. Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought?
Not me.
Listen. As much as I love this show, I think I said this in my last video, but I never ever finished the show. I did get deja vu though, because I guess at one point I did watch the series finale. At one point, I don't remember when, I don't remember how, but when I was watching the finale last week, I was like, I'm getting so much deja vu that the song Deja Vu by Beyonce is about me. So yes, besides that, I finally finished all the episodes and I'm so excited because number one, I can finally say I finished the show. It's not like a big accomplishment, but it's just something like, this show has been like on my watch for the past 12 years. We finally finished it. We can do a series. This is part 2 of a series I started last week talking about the unseriousness, the drama, the fuckery that happened in the show Pretty Little Liars seasons 1 through 5. And this week we're talking about the situations that happened through season 6 and through season 7, which there was a lot of. I know I missed like some stuff in my last week's video, but this right here, like I'll put the notes right here. It was a mess. It was a mess. Before I get into that video, like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on social media. And let's get started on season 6 and season 7 of Pretty Little Liars. So season 6 starts off with the girls being in the dollhouse. Now, if you didn't watch my last video or you just have not watched Pretty Little Liars in a really long time, season 5 ended with the girls being charged as accessories to the unaliving of Mona. Mona, of course, was the original A, but now she's trying to get back into the girls' good graces and trying to instead help the girls with the new A's that pop up throughout the end of the series. Now, unfortunately, in this dollhouse, the girls go through a series of torment. Even Aria, like she got her hair cut off. They have like a fake homecoming alongside Mona, who is supposed to be cosplaying as Allison, as they are being controlled by someone who was revealed to be Charles De Laurentiis. Now, when the girls get rescued through the help of Ezra, Toby, Caleb, and Allison, along with the police, of course, Spencer goes up to Allison and asks, hey, who was Charles De Laurentiis? And Allison gets really confused because she has never heard or seen that name in her entire life. Now, when she goes to ask her dad who Charles is, her dad, of course, gets a little defensive and says, don't ever say that name again. Now, when the girls get rescued, they weren't the only ones in this dollhouse, as it seems someone named Sarah Harvey was also in the dollhouse. Now, Sarah Harvey was someone who went missing around the same time as Allison, and it is revealed that she was in the dollhouse for 2 years, and the girls were in the dollhouse for about a month. Now, Sarah Harvey didn't have the best house life, so she goes and stays with Emily for a short period of time, and the two seemingly have like a little bit of a fling going on. You get what I'm putting down, right? I'm also wearing my hoodie, because, you know, A always wears a hoodie, you know, giving out very much, you know, creepy stalker vibes. Of course, the police are looking at a lot of suspects to see, you know, who is trying to torment these girls once again. And the main person on their list is a guy named Andrew Campbell. Now, Andrew Campbell was a student alongside the girls. He was on the debate team, I want to say. If it's wrong, I'll put it right here. But he was on the debate team alongside Spencer. Let me bringing out the British accent already. That's not until like another season. And also he had like a little situation with Aria, but Aria was already suspicious of him because at one point when the town still thought that Mona was unalive, he made a comment basically saying like he didn't know why the world was mourning over Mona, and she like the world was like a better place. She wasn't the best person, yada yada yada. Now, he wasn't the one that actually kidnapped and tormented the girls, so he gets cleared, and the girls are outside the police station once he's leaving, and he basically lashes out at the girls. I mean, I totally understand if you're accused of a crime by like 4 or 5 people and you didn't do it, yeah, you can get mad a little bit. But at this point, everybody is a senior in high school, so Andrew alongside the school district doesn't want the girls like anywhere near the events that include graduation and prom. So instead of going to their actual prom, their mothers decide to have like a home prom situation where the girls can go off and have fun with their partners, and the moms get a little drunk, have a little fun. Now, one mom gets a little too drunk, and that is Veronica, who is the mother of both Spencer and Melissa. And she just, you know, she lets it all out. And honestly, I was watching this and I was like, girl, let it out. Because honestly, if my husband had an affair and that affair resulted in a child, and I have to see the child in my yard for like 2, 4, 10 years. Hand me that bottle of Chardonnay right now. Now, the moms reluctantly go into the house of the De Laurentiis, but no one is home, so they sink into the basement where they unfortunately get trapped. So the moms basically are in their daughter's shoes and feeling what they felt for over a month. Can we stop? Like, can we really stop? At this point, like I said, the girl's trying to live a normal life, especially with Aria. Aria is trying to have her art put on display and basically just try to have a career in art. But unfortunately, what she decided to display wasn't on the final display, as it's shown that there were 4 photos of the girl seemingly unconscious with just a blanket covering them that was shown in the art gallery and of course displayed to what seemed to be the entire town. So of course the police come and try to investigate who is putting up these photos and who is still tormenting the girls after them being rescued from this dollhouse. At some point, Ken sits down with Jason and Allison and spills the beans about Charles. Now Charles is revealed to be a younger brother to Jason but older brother to Allison, and had a lot of issues and was sent to Raleigh, but unfortunately he was unalive when he was a teenager. So Allie doesn't remember him, and Jason thought that Charles was just an imaginary friend. But later on we find out that Charles is not only alive but instead Cece Drake. Now Cece Drake was someone we met in season 3. She was seemed to be like a close friend to Allison. She was someone that Allie confided in before she disappeared, and also had some kind of connection to Detective Darren Wilden, who we all know was not the best detective. Charles did have some issues and was sent to Riley, and that's where she transitioned into Charlotte, aka Cece. Now the mom still kept in touch with Cece, and at one point when Cece left, she got in a relationship with Jason, aka her brother, and Jason brought Cece home, and the mom was very aware of Cece and her history and who she really was. And on the night that Allie disappeared, Cece was the one to hit Allie with the head with a rock on accident, of course. And instead of saying the words, "What did you do?" to Allison, Jessica was instead saying this to Cece as she was burying her own daughter alive. Well, not her other daughter, because obviously, you know, Cece's not a girl. I don't want to hear any debate, okay? We're not doing that right now, okay? Let people be. Let your freak flag fly. If you want to be a girl, you're a girl. If you want to be a boy, you're a boy. Let's move on. We also find out that Cece was the one to unalive Wilden, and she also got to know Bethany Young. And now Bethany Young was the young lady that was inside the coffin that seemingly belonged to Allison, but Allison, as we all know, is alive. Is she well? No. Is she healthy? Who's to say? But she's alive, all right. And also, Bethany, alongside Cece, saw Toby's mom the night that she was unalive. Now, Toby's mom was institutionalized at Riley, and Riley basically covered up her unaliving as a sewer slide. But Bethany was the young to actually push her off of the roof, but put the blame on Cece, resulting in Cece being, you know, more fucked up in the head than she already was at this point. Also find out that Sarah was the second Redcoat. Now, Redcoat was the character that we kind of saw through season 3 and through season 4. Now at this point during season 3, season 4, Redcoat was believed to be Allison or even Cece, but Redcoat is Sarah, and the girls full of it portrayed because of course Sarah Harvey was someone who they thought was in the dollhouse for 2 years and also had feelings for Emily, but that all went away. We have, you know, Cece finally being found for the crimes that she did. Sarah, I don't think, did she suffer any consequences? I mean, she got her arm all fucked up during that night, but I don't remember. I'll put a note right here. But yeah, Cece is A. She is the A, the boss A, you know, the end game A, if you will, basically. Then after this, we jump into 5 years later. The girls are now in their mid-20s. I mean, no, early 20s. Because when you're a senior, you're 17, 18. So they're 23 years old now. They're 23 years old now, all doing well for themselves except for Emily. Emily, unfortunately, dropped out of school after the passing of her dad, and she's not doing financially well for herself, minus the girls. The girls are doing very well for themselves, and they are all in different relationships. They're not with anyone that they were with during high school, which, for Aria's sake, thank God. Now, they are at the trial for Cece to determine whether or not Cece can be free or stay behind bars. Now, everyone kind of puts up a front, especially Allison. I mean, this is her sister. She, didn't know this person for the majority of her life. I mean, she did know Cece, but she didn't know Charlotte, which was the name that Cece transitioned to. She didn't know her sister. She just knew her sister as a friend. Aria is the only one that basically says, hey, keep that girl behind bars, okay? My life has been good for the past 5 years. I've not had to jump on my phone whenever I got a text. Keep homegirl behind bars. But unfortunately, her statement wasn't enough, as Cece was released and is now a free woman. Now, during this time jump, Radley, the mental hospital that Mona, Spencer's mom, Bethany, Spencer were all institutionalized at, is now a hotel. And the night that Cece was released, the girls stayed at the hotel. And unfortunately, the same night that Cece was released, she was also unalive. And Hannah basically is suspicious of Aria because at one point, Aria left the hotel for a very, very long time, around the time that the police suspect that Cece was unalive. And Aria goes to confront Ezra and basically says, hey, if anyone asks, I did not see you and we did not talk the night that Cece was unalive. So Ezra is back in the picture and also back in Aria's life. But like I said, at this point, they're not together. Aria is dating like her co-worker and Ezra's dating this girl named Nicole, who unfortunately disappeared in Latin America. On top of Aria being on the suspect list, Ezra was also on the suspect list because the girls thought that Ezra might have unalived Cece to protect Aria and also the rest of the girls. And also Byron being Aria's dad. But he gets off the suspect list when it is revealed that he got back together with Ella, Aria's mom, and also proposed to her. Now, while the girls are no longer people that they were with in high school, Caleb and Spencer get into a relationship, which I thought was so fucking weird. Like, that's not important really to like the storyline. I mean, it doesn't really affect anything, but it's just important to like note that. It's also important to note that Caleb took Hannah's V card and Spencer was the best friend to Hannah. Like, listen, if any of my friends are watching this, if y'all try this shit, y'all gonna have to meet me in the Ross parking lot. Okay? Okay. With Allison thinks that she's going a little bit crazy because she keeps seeing the figures of her mom, Jessica, and Detective Karen Golden. And unfortunately, that leads into her going into a bad fall, aka getting attacked. Like, I don't think she fell. I think she got attacked. And also at this point, she is in a relationship / marriage to a guy named Dr. Elliot Rowlands, who we find out is in a relationship with Charlotte, her sister. This is a nasty ass show. Also get the reveal of Mary Drake, who is the twin sister to Jessica and is working with Elliot. They're trying to find out who unalived Cece. So they torment Allie like she knew anything. We also discover that Charlotte was not a direct sibling to Allison and Jason, but instead her cousin, which is still fucking weird. Like, you dated your cousin. It's still giving very Sweet Home Alabama. After all of this, Allie decides to check into a mental hospital, the new mental hospital being Welby, because of course, seeing your dead mom and a dead detective can drive anyone to insanity. Now, like I mentioned before, the girls are doing very well for themselves except for Emily. Emily is back working at the cafe, and because she dropped out of college and dealing with the grief of losing her dad, she decides to get some extra money by donating her eggs, but unfortunately the clinic got broken into and Emily's eggs were stolen. Because this girl can just not have a happy storyline in any season of this goddamn show. And to end this season off, Hannah gets kidnapped. Can we stop with the kidnapping, please? Season 7, the last season of this mess of a show that we love to watch every now and again, basically opens up with Hannah's kidnapping. We get a little glimpse of what she went through, and it is shown that she went through similar tortures that she went through when she was in the dollhouse, but unfortunately she was alone. And she also seemingly got burned on her back very badly. Now, when she is released, or like when she escaped, let's put escape. When she escaped, it is revealed that Mary Drake is, a permanent resident of Rosewood, and she now owns and lives at the Lost Woods Resort. Now, the Lost Woods Resort was a place that had a lot of history-ish. There was an A layer. It was the place that Spencer discovered that Mona was A. It was also a place where Mona and Allie had a little bit of a nice moment. Allie basically helped transform Mona into the Mona that she is at school. Behind closed doors, we all know what Mona Well, not at this point. At this point, Mona was trying to help the girls, but like, you know, earlier seasons, that's who she was all created by Allison. We'll discover more about Dr. Elliot Rollins. Now, like I said, at this point, Allie is in the hospital and him and Allie are now married. So of course, him being like, you know, when you're married, you get like, not control, but you have like permission with like your now partner, like life partner now, basically. So basically he makes all the decisions for Allison, or even at one point he basically makes it a thing for Allison not to have visitors, because instead of helping his now wife, he instead drugging her because he thinks that she has something to do with unaliving of Cece, his ex-girlfriend, which is a little odd. Like, why are you dating sisters? Like, or cousin, whatever. It's still disgusting and it's still like, ew. But okay, I digress. At one point, Elliot tries to kidnap Allie, but Allie gave her location to the girls, which is a big showdown. And fortunately, Rollins gets unalive because Hannah was driving the car and he like went through the windshield. That's not funny. He went through the windshield and the girls ended up burying him. And the police think that Elliot just went missing, so they put out like a missing persons report. But it is discovered that Elliot Rollins was not his real name, but instead his name was something along the lines of like Archer Dunhill. So not only did you take someone's identity, but you were practicing under that fake name. Isn't that like 4 years in prison? Or like 400 years in prison? That's a lot of years of prison. Because like taking someone's identity right off the bat is just like, you're getting the can. Then you practiced like a career with that. That's some, like, can a lawyer comment? Because I need to know. When Rollins basically was unalived, they basically had to keep the secret to themselves. I mean, they kept a lot of secrets to themselves. Like, I am surprised that none of the other girls besides Spencer had checked into Riley or like another mental institution. I mean, obviously Allie, but like outside of Allie, this show was driving me crazy. I feel like I needed to take a little 72 hour, if you know what I mean. Now, while the girls are trying to recover and keep the secret that Dr. Rollins is not just somewhere in Baltimore, but he's somewhere in the ground, Allie discovers that she's unfortunately pregnant, and she is faced with a very big decision because, of course, she thinks that she is pregnant with her ex-unalived husband, but he used a fake name. So she's faced with this big decision, and unfortunately, we have the return of Noel Khan. Noel Khan was the popular pretty boy whose parents owned a cabin that was the last place that Maya was seen before she was unalived. Paige, who was the ex-girlfriend of Emily, she now works at Rosewood High School alongside Allison. Of course, there's some resentment because she can't let go of what happened in high school. And of course, she can't let go of the love that she had with Emily. We have Sydney. Sydney was on the swim team alongside Emily and Paige. We met her in season 5, and she seemed to be an accomplice with Jenna, who's also back, and unfortunately still very fucking blind. Also at this point, Arya and Ezra reunite their romance, and Ezra also proposes. Now, how do I feel about this? I don't. Like, you're a groomer. You're a PDF file. They were working together because Ezra was writing a book, and basically, like, it seemed as though they were talking to and about each other through their writing, and basically Arya's ex-boyfriend slash co-worker was a little bit suspicious of that. He also was like, Arya, are you okay? What happened to you, stink? Like, what happened to you when you were taking those SATs? Do we need to call the FBI? Yes, you do. You should call the fucking FBI. But I digress. Sarah, unfortunately, is unalived. She was discovered unalived in a hotel room that she had at the rally. And of course, there's another unalived investigation because you got Rollins missing, but he's rolling in the deep. Then you have Sarah, who was already suspicious because she was close with Cece and she was staying in the Riley. She also had like a design of like the hotel that was covered through Arya and Spencer. And on top of this, Noel and Jenna are back on like the op list, the A list, if you will, the sus list, if you will. And Noel also got unalived during a big showdown between him and the girls. He basically had an axe in his hand, and the axe cut that axe in half, if you know what I mean. So we have that, and then unfortunately, Janet seemed to be the one to shoot Spencer, like right here, like shoulder, chest plate situation. and Mary Drake came to the rescue, but not before revealing to Spencer as she's spinning out that she is the birth mother of Spencer and not Veronica. And unfortunately, the same night, Toby got in a car accident with his now fiance, Yvonne. Yvonne was a character that we met. She is part of the family that is running against Spencer's mom during like the state senate. During this point, A basically gives the girls a board game. Basically, each girl gets a turn on the board game and basically goes on another adventure to get a piece of a puzzle that is needed to solve something at one point. So at this point, like I said, Allie is pregnant, and her and Emily basically join a partnership, of course, with the constant side-eye by Paige, because Paige still has feelings for Emily. She still thinks that Allie is like this big bad wolf. So they have this nursery, and Aria decides to join the A team for just a short bit of time. And one of her assignments is to destroy the nursery that belonged to both Allie and Emily. Now, unfortunately, through this puzzle piece, Allie gets her turn and she discovers that she is carrying the eggs of Emily. But we don't know who the sperm belongs to. Not yet. We basically find out some new information about Lucas. Now, Lucas was someone who I forgot to talk about in last week's video too. He was basically another unpopular kid alongside Mona, but Mona glowed up before Lucas, so Lucas had to do the torturing with Allie when she was around, and also the torturement of Mona. But he was still really good friends with Hannah, even at one point where like, I forgot to mention this last video too. Basically, Hannah's mom worked at a bank, right? Long story short, Hannah's mom stole money from a client, but unfortunately the client was dead, so she was like kind of in the clear, whatever. A stole the money that Hannah's mom had in like a pasta box situation, and in order to regain some of the money, A basically dared Hannah to dance with Lucas instead of Sean, her ex-boyfriend in season 1. So that's like what we need about Lucas. Like, Lucas was like always on the side of Hannah, but he never understood why someone like Hannah could be friends with someone like Allie. But we discover that Lucas knew Charles, Allie's cousin slash friend slash sister. Also meet Ted for a little bit. Now, Ted was someone who was the ex-boyfriend to Hannah's mom, Ashley. He also proposed to Ashley, but unfortunately Ashley broke the news that while Ted was away, we never really like saw Ted, but Ted was away at one point because he was a pastor. He was doing, you know, some godly duties. At one point, Ashley slept with Jason, ultimately leading to Ted never marrying Ashley. But Hannah and Emily went up to his house to ask if he knew or even saw Mary Drake. So at this point, Mary Drake has now disappeared, as she is seen to be armed and dangerous. Ted basically says no, but basically asks Hannah to, you know, catch up, because obviously he still cared for her. That was almost like his stepdaughter. The girls are unaware, though, that behind the door, Mary Drake is standing beside, making sure that Ted had the right things to say. Oh boy. Mary also decides to falsely confess to unaliving Rollins, and we jump to the season finale, the series finale of this fuck-ass show. So the show jumps to a year later after everything that happened, and the girls are getting ready for the wedding between Ezra and Aria, and they're just reflecting. They're just like, wow, like everything's so fine, everything's so dandy, like, oh my god, I'm getting married, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing well, you're having a baby. It never is like a happy ending with these girls. So basically, Spencer wakes up and finds herself chained up to a bed and her own reflection looking back at her, but it's not her own reflection. It's her twin sister who has a British accent. Yeah, Spencer has a twin sister named Alex. The two never knew of each other until Alex was in college working at a bar, and Ren, y'all remember Ren, the ex-fiance to Melissa, ex-fleeing to Spencer, ex-doctor at Bradley and the other unnamed hospital, basically met Alex, but he was insisting that it was Spencer, but of course it wasn't Spencer. They sat down, and Red told Alex everything that she needed to know about Spencer and the family, and at some points, Alex took the place of Spencer. Even this one point where like her and Ren were talking and Ezra saw them, but instead of talking in her, you know, natural accent, she took the place and voice of Spencer. I think that is the last time that we see Ren. I mean, not really, unfortunately, because like he was attracted to Spencer and like made a move on Hannah, but like I digress. He was seen to be unalived as revealed by Alex, and also Alex reveals that his ashes are presumed to be in a locket that is around her neck, and unfortunately the sperm donor of the kids that Emily and Allie had. Now, alongside Spencer, Ezra is also kidnapped, and he's very like confused because he's like, I'm getting married today. I don't got time for this. My tux needs some steaming right now. The two attempt to escape. I mean, they just escaped from the cell that they were held in, but they go outside, but they discover that outside is still like underground. And of course, the rest of the crew is trying to figure out where Spencer and Ezra are. And they discover that a property that Toby once built was actually bought. So the crew heads over to the property and discover Alex, Spencer, and also Ezra. And to determine who the real Spencer is, Toby basically asks, what's my favorite poem? And Spencer, of course, recites the poem in French. I was trying to be all fancy with it, you know? If I mentioned this, but Mona had a 72-hour hold at one point, but when she left, she put both Alex and Mary in a dollhouse of her own. And the show ends off with a little 360 of the sleepover that opened up with the show. But instead of Allison, of course, we have another popular pretty girl named Addison, who we met earlier in season 7. She was a student of Allie and also a student of Emily. And when she escaped, we have the new Spencer saying, I think I heard her scream. And that is the end of this show, of this series recap. I know I missed so much stuff. Like at one point, Spencer thought Toby was unalived, so she got institutionalized at Bradley and she joined the A-team. Forgot to mention the situation with Hannah's mom stealing that money from that old ass client, and then like a relative of hers tried scamming. There was just a lot that happened in the show, and like I love to watch it at certain times. But goddamn, the mess, the fuckery, the drama, the unseriousness just was a lot for me, and I'm so glad I can sit up here to say that I finished the show. Have you ever watched the show? Did you ever finish the show? Did you watch the spinoffs? I don't know if I mentioned this, but I never watched Ravenswood. That was like a direct spinoff during like season 4? Season 3, season 4? Never watched The Perfectionist. I do know like the synopsis, like Allie is now a teacher at some college. I know that her and Mona are like in the show, but I don't know anybody else. And then the Original Sin. I did watch Original Sin, and I was so excited because the strike is over, so we're gonna get season 2. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me now. I'm so ready. But yes, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, comment your favorite season, episode, moment from this show. Regardless of what I say, I do like the show. I do like to like, especially like restart and rewatch it, like start from the beginning. But comment down your favorite moments. Follow me on social media. And until next time, stay strong, stay safe, YOLO, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.